Good evening, students. So, good evening on this a Sunday and festive day. So, happy Makar Sankranti, Pongal, and lot of festivities all across. So, you must have enjoyed kite flying, enjoying games, just for the sake of understanding and knowledge. So, the day me along with my friends when we became chartered accountants, so this was this month some 26 years ago. So the day result came, we were doing exactly the same, flying kite and playing gulli danda, if you all know that. So it's a very means it's a day that's very dear to all of us, being a big festival and dear to me personally, like that. So the e-chocolate goes to Alok. Then we have, so good evening, Alok, Jash, Mohammed, then Dhyanesh, Jyoti, Mitesh Bhai, Khushi, uh, Bal Vinodini, Harsh. Okay. So let us start. The last three sessions we are going to take. So just to keep it easy, great, Harsh. We must do it. So we have been doing this since long. Okay. So we have 3 days. So what I'll request you that any query you have from any of the other chapters also, you can just post it. I'll keep a note of it and then we'll find time to answer those queries. Say today's the three sessions. So we'll find time to answer query. You can ask any query from any chapter. So let us go ahead. Now see core banking system and what exactly is we are going to talk about. So let us just first define the word itself. Core banking is to make it comfortable, to make it easy. Please understand how banking evolved over a period of time. Say, you must have read that many bankers in India have been celebrating more than 100 years of their establishment. So initially, bankers were privately promoted entities. Then over a period of time, they were nationalized as economy grew, uh, more specifically in early 80s and early 90s, when this deregulation, opening up of the economy was done. So this idea about centralized banking process, centralized transaction process came into being. Then this idea about core banking system evolved. So its technology was adopted initially before core banking system came. There was something called as TBA, total branch automation. You just listen to these words. These are going to allow you to understand the idea behind the chapter. So at when you have the historical backing to it, the understanding always improves. So initially banks started having computers at the branch level. So when this computerization was done, there were computers at the branch level and each branch had its own server. Then the branch manager was made in charge to have backup at the branch level. So there was a very specific backup tape that was called as a DAT. That tape was called, where branch managers had to take daily backup. They had to take backup on that DAT tape. Two backups had to be taken. One will be the branch. One will be with the branch manager, other with the another officer of the branch. Then next day morning, when all bank systems were put on, so they are going to sync their data. So, but as business grew, the realization came that this is not going to be the best way of supporting businesses. So this idea about core banking system came up. So 35 years back, banks started converting their total branch automation systems to what we all know today is core banking system. The basic definition of core banking system is where the processing, data, recording is basically at a centralized level. Branch becomes the transaction processing hubs. So you go to the branch, you do your transaction, but when you open your bank account, you give your KYC document, know your customer documents, your Aadhaar, PAN, driving license, passport, or any such valid IDs you submit along with the account opening form. So now today the banking has evolved at such a level that these are all electronically tagged and electronically stored in a central database. Your account, suppose you have account in a public sector or a private sector bank, and you want to physically see the account, that is not possible because your account details are at some server, and that server is also not at the branch level, it is at a central level. Because this way of processing came up, so this idea about core banking system evolved. So core banking system that we are going to talk about is itself 25, 30 years back, the process had started. And now, since last 15 years, any bank that is opening a new bank branch is putting itself, that branch is an extension of the existing core banking system. So because of core banking system, branches have become more of transaction accumulation, transaction capturing, customer interface locations. In fact, just for an update, we are going to talk, we did talk about, we are going to talk this here itself. I'll give you some more technology updates on core banking system. So you can just keep a note of them for remembrance purpose, for recall purpose. The city, town I come from, in my city and probably in your city also, you must have had banks which are being called as uh, fully system driven banks or without any human intervention. So there are bank branch kiosks where there is no individual in the whole bank branch. So there is a ATM, you can withdraw cash. There's a cash deposit machine that is kept. Then you can drop your checks, you can print your passbooks. So these four machines take care of more than 75% of all banks' daily transaction. So this technology update is already there. So core banking system has evolved. It is taking technology application to the next level. So to this, we'll talk about the core banking system. Okay. Then, okay, I have got queries. So what I'll require, I'll just clear the queries. Uh, Kadi Sai Manikanta, how to get, I'm looking at to you for the first time. So get 40 marks in EIS and then you will get exemption in EIS SM paper 7. One-way marketing and one-way marketing is basically there is a person who is a speaker and there is a listener. One-to-one will, the listener also have option of giving feedback. That becomes one-to-one. Then CDM, Khuzema, please elaborate CDM. Yes, yes, it is related to Finacle, Dhyanesh. Okay, yes. So I want Khuzema to give full form of CDM so that I understand. Cash deposit machine, if you are saying that, okay. So that is CDM, cash deposit machine. Okay. So, okay, Sankaran, good evening. So let us get into the chapter after the introduction on core banking system. Again, see, we are going to talk about the whole core banking system, the technology, the controls, the risk. Because see, all of us are having a bank account and we have been going to bank branch. So whatever discussion we have, kindly visualize that with your very personal experience of going to the bank branch. हम सब बैंक की ब्रांच गए हुए हैं और हमारे निजी अनुभव है कि बैंक की ब्रांच कैसे काम करते हैं. जिस भी बैंक की ब्रांच में आप गए हैं वो कोर बैंकिंग सिस्टम पे काम करते हैं. तो मेरा निवेदन है कि जब हम इसको पढ़ें सारे चैप्टर को तो आप उसको उस आपके ब्रांच के अनुभव को ध्यान रखें और जो पढ़ रहे हैं उससे जोड़कर देखें. Because all of us have gone to a bank branch and all banks are now core banking system. So just keep a tag of it. Have a physical visualization of your bank branch and then we'll keep reading on it. There are a lot of topics in the chapter which are at the back end. Back end means which are not physically visible to you. I'll try to explain them. Lot of topics in the chapter are front end that you personally experience. Then lot of topics are there that you have read in accounts, you have read in audit. I think Banking Regulation Act is a law that you are all reading. So most of whatever is in the chapter you have already practically experienced or read in other subjects also. So here is basically again the same idea, consolidating all understanding and putting it into a basic frame. Yeah, thank you, Kuzema. Cash deposit machine. Okay. Now, now see, this is an important disclaimer. So during the course of the discussion, I'll be referring to some banking frauds. So when I refer to banking fraud, my idea is to look to the technology lapses, system lapses. Our idea of discussing banking fraud is absolutely not targeting the bank or the customer or the doer of the fraud. No, what we are basically looking at from a learning perspective, from a system perspective, what was the lacuna? What could have been done right So our idea about discussing banking fraud will be from a learner's perspective, how I can learn from a fraud that happened in such as such bank. So I'll be referring to many such banking frauds. So just keep a tag of this. So we are not interested in persons, individuals. Our discussion is not anyway trying to degrade those persons, but we are basically on the system part of it. Then, core banking system. Then same. Now, this is important. What is the learning outcomes of this chapter? So understand the components, architecture of the core banking system, impact of on the risk and related controls, appreciate the functioning of the core modules of the banking and business process flow, impact on the risk and the controls that need to be put in place, comprehend regulatory and compliance requirement applicable to core banking system. I just referred to that Banking Regulation Act, Reserve Bank of India Act, PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering and Information Technology Act. Please understand, all these law you are reading in other subjects also. So there's a good way of making our experience of learning fast and more effective. What you can do, there are a number of topics like just I have shared to you that in this chapter, there are many topics that you have read in your accounts, that you have read in your audit, that you have read in your law. So just keep a tag. Say you can have a separate summary of this topic and these all locations I have read it. So somehow it adds to the quality of learning. My idea is that, see, once you become chartered accountant, when you go in service or start your practice or become an entrepreneur, do a startup. So whenever you do those things, you cannot visualize topics independently. They have to be taken coherently. A cohesion has to be built in those subjects. So my idea is that if a topic is there that is relevant to other subjects, just keep a tag or note of it. And believe me, by doing this, you are going to improve the qualitative learning is going to be phenomenal. That is what we are here for. Okay, so let us go to the module. Just give me a second. Yeah. So see, this is all that we are going to learn in this chapter. So the core banking system, then we are going to talk about the banking services, the components, the architecture, the working of the core banking system, the risk, security, policy and control, then business process flow of key bank products. So current account, saving account, credit cards, mortgages, treasury process, loans and finances. I'll add one or two only for learning purpose, no? Just for your knowledge purpose. There is one that I want to add specifically. I'll tell you. Then data analysis, business intelligence, applicable regulatory and compliance requirement. Now, please understand that when we started EIS, my day one of the lecture in chapter one also, this word data analysis, business intelligence is there. I told you that please, those of you who means once you become chartered accountant, this one word is going to carry along for next 10, 15 years. So just put your mind, heart into this subject and learn as much as you can. So this is what the whole structure of the discussion will be. It will be basically rolled on the way chapter has been built. Okay, Khojama, mobile banking is part of the discussion. So, okay, well, there's one thing that I want to add. I'll do that. Okay. Now, see what I've tried to do. We need to create this. Many of you asked this question, sir, how to recall the topic in examination. So there are two or three ways. Okay. Now, see, one thing that I've learned, I have been discussing this with some CS student. Like you had the result right now. So one thing that I feel that one, I request all of you to start practicing this. See, it is going to help you a lot. I personally realize that, suppose I ask you, do answer that in chat. 1 minute diversion from the topic, but very much relevant for your exam purpose. Okay. So just write in the chat that suppose your attempt is in May 2023. Okay. So you are going to give your exam. Now, before May 2023, please say that when was the last time picked, you took a pen or a pencil and a paper and you wrote 10 pages continuously. Please understand my question. It's a deep impact question. My question to all of you is that May 2023 is your examination. So you have to write in the chat that when was the last time before May 2023 you picked a pen or a pencil and a paper and you continuously wrote 10 pages without stopping. Just write in the chat. Believe me, it is a gross realization of a very fundamental gap that is there when we go for examination. So once I get your answers, I'll read and then we'll go through. Let me explain the way chapter has been framed. So for ease of remembrance, recall, what I have done, I've broken this whole chapter is like there's a main topic and there's a subtopic, and within the subtopic there are topics. So I've tried to create a hierarchy of it, and that hierarchy is reflected in all these slides. Okay. So as we go ahead, we'll be reading in that manner only. So we'll have a main topic, a topic and a subtopic, and like that. So a lot of, you can say, steps are there in this whole chapter. So first main topic is overview of banking services and related IT risk and controls. Second, components and architecture of core banking system. Third, core banking system risk and security controls. Then process relevant risk and controls, reporting system MIS, data analytics, applicable regulatory and compliance requirements. Then, so this main topic has been divided into subtopics. So we'll be reading this. So now we are starting main topic 1. So introduction, overview of banking services, overview of core banking system, and core features of core banking system. Let me read your answers. So good. So I'm reading, I'm not, with your permission, I'm not reading the name, but I'm reading your answer. Okay. So Dhyanesh said now. Then we have someone said on 13th January, that is, so it's a regular practice. 1 week before exam. Okay. Today. Then someone said that I did it in May 2022 exam. April, I am reading 2022. Then, okay, someone said 3rd January during BCom exam. Sujal, okay, yesterday, yes. Now please understand, you know, what is the gap in the discussion I did? See, we have become so technology driven that our idea when we go for giving examination is that, let me do it in this manner, that we take that examination as a T20 match. Okay. और हम अपने मन में ये धारणा बनाते हैं कि अरे मैं तो लिख लूंगा ऐसा. Believe me, I have personally experienced that if I have to write 5 pages non-stop now, my hand starts giving a lot of pain to me. So I'll request you to do one thing, like some of you are actually doing this practice. It is very good. So best of luck to Harsh also, and all of you, my wishes are there. See, the idea is that what you do, say those of you are not doing it on a daily basis, I'm telling you how you can add value to your learning process. So what you do, see, there are many subjects. Within subjects, there are chapters, and few chapters are interesting. Few we find not much interesting. There is a lot of effort to do to learn. So those chapters which you find which are not interesting, just do one thing. For that chapter, some way of learning, you do start writing, say, 1 question, 2 question, 3 questions, or ensuring that, say, at least 9 to 10 pages you start writing daily. Now, it is going to help you in two ways. First, it is going to improve your writing practice. So when you are going to give examination, that fatigue of writing is not going to hit your performance. Second, because you are going to write a topic that is not that you are not comfortable with. So this process of forcefully writing that topic will help you to understand the topic. So it is going to help you a lot. In fact, many students who meet me, who ask me, sir, I couldn't pass the examination. So this one is one of the things I mandatory tell that student, that please start practicing daily writing. So if we miss that, believe me, the examinations as they stand today, they are paper, they have to be written. So you need to practice that. And none of us, when I ask this question to you, I visualize myself also that when was the last time I wrote, say, 10 pages continuously? Believe me, I have not been able to recall since the whole last at least 2 years. Two pages, 3 pages, I do practice, but 10 pages continuous, I have myself not done. So that we need to improve, that we need to learn. So for boring chapters, you do it. So see, it is going to serve two purposes. One, improve your writing practice and help you remember the chapter. So please start doing that. And see, 10 pages for you, the way you are. So it is not going to be more than 30 minutes job and you'll be doing it. Okay. So let us continue. So because we are on the ending part of our session, so I thought, let me share this something for your exams. Okay. So introduction. Then in main topic 2, when we talk about the components and architecture, so these are the topics in the main topic. Core banking systems, IT environment, technology component, functional architecture, internet banking process, e-commerce transaction processing, case study on deployment, implementation of core banking system. Then main topic 3, risk associated with core banking systems, security policy, internal control systems in bank. Business processes. So we'll be talking about current account, saving account facility, credit card, mortgages, treasury, loans and trade finance. Risk prediction for Basel III based on AI. Lot of AI is being put into banking system. Applicable regulatory and compliance requirement, impact of technology in banking, money laundering, cyber crimes, banking regulation act. Just at the cost of recall, the last discussion we had on chapter 4. So this cryptocurrency topic came. I told you that present status, please update. I was just listening to RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das. He was speaking somewhere. It is available on YouTube. He told why cryptocurrency government of India is not allowing cryptocurrency to become a valid currency. He had some very valid points. So please, that present status we discussed, you noted on crypto, please keep a tag of it. Okay. It comes from banking regulation, the idea about cyber crimes, money laundering. Those issues are critical. So again, it is repeated in this chapter. So this is how the chapter is divided. So chapter is a main topic and a topic, subtopic, and there are parts of subtopic and points. So I just try to create this so that we can remember it easily. No, Sharon, I didn't say you cannot. Don't know, Sharon. My point was that you need to do a writing practice. That is the point. Okay. So I think if I made it clear, Sharon said, sir, why can't we write on our own for this subject? No, you write on your own logically. Question is not that. Question was that how you practice for your examination. And like Alok said, sir, there are some subjects which doesn't motivate us to read. So those topics you can just write. So that will help improve. Okay. And believe me, when you go for examination, just as asked, so when you go for examination, feel confident. Okay. I just met a student, in fact, yesterday. So she told me, sir, when I go to examination, everything goes blank. So I told, no, relax. So don't worry. See, examination is nothing that we don't know about. It always is known. Just have the confidence that you can do it. Okay. So what we talked till now is main topic, and then we'll just keep a track. So I'll keep the legends so that we can remember it. So overview of banking services, related IT risk and control. So let us start with the introduction. And again, ask questions in between. The chat is always open. Now see what has happened. When we started this introduction to the chapter, see phenomenal changes in technology have come. Let us just multiply our chapter with discussion in the previous chapter. There was a topic in chapter Web 3.0. In previous chapter, you talked about AI. We talked about blockchain, machine learning. So if these technologies are there and banking is a big business as it exists today, So these technologies are going to have a multiplier effect on the business. See, every business today is adopting these technologies, that includes banking also, just at a cost of something that you may like to note right now. Just keep a note of this word called as fintech company. Fintech companies. We'll be talking about this. So what are these fintech companies? These are technology driven financial companies which give you small loans. You know what is the basis based on which they give you you loan? Based on your social network status. So if, for example, on Facebook you have 5,000 followers, that means you are a good person, they may give you some loan. LinkedIn, they may give you some loan. So these financial technology companies have lot of AI based tools which do analysis of your social platform status. Of course, there's a set of risks, there's a issue of privacy, everything, but this is how technology is evolving. Okay, so let us talk about this. Yeah, avoid. Alok is talking about grammatical mistakes. So my very personal take is avoid. In fact, this, yes, just do one more thing. That student, I saw her, she did show her copy. So please avoid this overwriting and cutting. Don't do it. Don't cut and overwrite. See, it creates a lot of toughness for examiner. And you may write cursive, you may not write cursive. Whatever font size you use, प्लीज मेक इट लेजिबल. आप जिस भी भाषा में लिखें, जैसे भी लिखें, छोटे अक्षर लिखें, बड़े अक्षर लिखें, सुंदर लेख के बतौर लिखें, पर यह ध्यान रखें जो भी लिखें वो परीक्षक को पढ़ने योग्य होना चाहिए. यू मे राइट एनी फॉन्ट, एनी साइज, एनी वे. द ओनली रिक्वायरमेंट इज make it legible for examiner to read, because see, if examiner is not going, will not be able to read, then he or she, whatever effort he or she does, the copy is in front of him or her, the marks will be based on that only. So make it legible, and that is what this 10 daily writing practice is going to fundamentally change your score, believe me. Okay, now coming to the topic. So we had a good discussion on exam. We'll have more in the coming days. Okay. Information technology is an integral aspect of functioning of enterprise and professionals in this digital age. In case of banking, which deals with money, has now increasingly become digital, and IT plays a very critical role. Take my word, what I'm sharing to you on the first paragraph. I have not gone to the my bank branch since last 2 years physically, which maintains my saving bank account. मैं अपने सेविंग बैंक अकाउंट बैंक ब्रांच में 2 साल से फिजिकली गया नहीं हूं. देयर इज अ बैंक ब्रांच दैट मेंटेन्स माय करंट अकाउंट. Only once in 3 months I need to go to that branch. That much automation is there. So physically going to the bank branch has become a non-issue. You need not go to the bank to do banking. That change is phenomenal. Banking is the engine of economic growth, specifically in a rapidly developing country like India, with its diverse backgrounds, practices, cultures, large geographic dispersion of citizens. There is one word. So 2 words I'll be adding in the chapter. Learn them from academics also. Okay. It is always going to create a broader vision and a very good understanding where we are going. So one word I've talked about fintech. The second word that I want you to learn is something called as a banking correspondent, BC. Write the word banking correspondent. So I will be discussing at appropriate level. I'll tell you, you must remember these words: fintech companies and banking correspondents. Then, and banking operations have virtually fundamentally changed in last 25 years. Phenomenal change. Then overview of banking service. Again, this is more like a recall for you because you must have read this at some place, some location. Let us do it. So what banking services banks provide? So now main topic 1, topic 2 is banking service. And within that, these are the subtopics. So I've given it by heading. So we can just have a recall where we are, what we are reading. So acceptance of deposit, granting of advances, remittances, collections, clearing, letter of credits and guarantees, credit cards, debit cards, other banking services. So on this slide, just for learning, okay. So I told you this, whatever we are going to read, most of you have already read. So suppose all these are options to a question I'm asking. On the slide that you see, there is a concept of like bank is there to give advances to customers. So bank gives two type of advances. One that is called as fund-based advances and one that is called as non-fund-based advances. From what you are looking at the slide, just write in the chat which option is a non-fund-based advance. Banks give advances, so fund-based and non-fund-based. From the slide that you are looking at, which is a non-fund based advance? Okay, then we'll discuss as it comes about along. Okay, so let us have the first one, acceptance of deposit. What question you are answering? Banks give advances, fund based and non-fund based. So which of them is non-fund based advance? From what you are looking at the slide. Okay, let me go ahead. Then deposit. So deposits involve deposit by customers in various schemes for predefined period. Commercial bank accept deposit in various forms such as TDs, term deposit, saving bank deposit, current account deposit, recurring deposit, saving cum term deposit, and various others innovative product. Now, please understand. So like you and me, we have got our saving bank deposit. Like Hujema also said, that I have not gone to my bank branch, which has a saving bank deposit since last 1.5 years. And that is how technology is going. So that deposit is my saving bank deposit. There are other categories of deposit, term deposit, current account deposit. Now, current account deposits, if I'm a commercial entity, the account that I open with the bank is called as current account. Then a recurring deposit, I want to save money. So on a monthly, quarterly frequency, I deposit a specified amount to the bank as a recurring deposit on which I get interest. Then now what banks have done, banks have come with this innovative products called as Flexi Saving Bank Account. Many banks have many names. Here we have seen saving cum term deposit. Now what this account is, say for example, once you become chartered accountants and you go in service, so your salary will be, say, for example, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakh rupees per month. So when you get the salary in your account, now that much amount you are not going to expend the next day. So what the bank tells you, okay, so we will open for you a saving cum term deposit account. So what is a saving cum term deposit account is that as soon as you give say your salary, say for example, 1 lakh rupees per month. So that is credited to your account. So what bank will do, from 1 lakh rupees, as per your instructions, 75,000 rupees, they will convert into a fixed deposit for a duration, so that you will earn a larger value of interest on that. So, and lot of innovative products bank, and within this flexi deposit account, flexi saving bank account, lot of innovations also bankers are bringing in. So this is new products that banks are bringing on saving bank deposits. Then granting of advances. Now, so within granting of advances, there are huge categories of advances that the banks can give. So it includes cash credits, overdrafts, purchase discounting of bills, term loans, CPs, commercial papers, ECBs, external commercial borrowing, KCC, Kisan Credit Card, Prime Minister's Mudra Yojana. So banks give advances, and again understand whatever appears on the slide, we cover 90% of the portfolio, the header of the slide, granting of advances. There are other categories of advances. They are also going to be covered. So this type of advances bankers can give. Each advance that the bank give has a designated purpose and designated security to that. Based on the purpose, based on the security, the categorization is there. Say, for example, cash credits are generally given on security of stock, security of debtors. Overdrafts are basically unsecured in nature. Purchase discounting of bills is based on the invoices. So security of goods is there built. Term loans are for, say, term loans are in nature of financing, say, fixed assets. So fixed asset financing will include financing for building, financing for plant and machinery. So those are term loans. Commercial papers are large borrowings done by big corporates for their projects. External commercial borrowing for if you want to import machinery from outside India, then you have this ECBs, KCC, Kisan Credit Card. I think this you must have been reading about this. Like our rural farmers. So let me brief on KCC something more. So Kisan Credit Card, see our rural farmers. So they when they go for cropping, like right now, yes. So the crop season is the crop cutting is going on at a lot of places. So new crop will be sown. So they will need seed. They will need harvesting equipment. They will need fertilizer, pesticides. So for all this, Kisan at the time of sowing of crop, he needs a lot of money. So previously, what was happening? There was this money lender cartels used to work in rural areas. So they used to give advances to the farmers, but at a very exorbitantly high rate of interest, unimaginably high, out of bounds like that, if you calculate the rate of interest. But then government realized that the help must be given to the farmers. So the government came up with this called as KCC advances, Kisan Credit Card. So based on the landholding pattern of the Kisan, based on the crop that the farmer plans to grow on the landholding, government gives an advance at the start of the cropping season. The expectation is that by the end of the cropping season, when harvesting is there, when Kisan realizes the amount by selling the farm produce, the amount is deposited in the bank account. So it has been a huge success, Kisan Credit Card. Then Prime Minister's Mudra Yojana for unemployed people. So it has, what I know, from a very small amount to a very large amount loans you can get in this Mudra Yojana. So these are advances being granted by the banks. Then remittances. Now, because I had asked a question, let me read the answer. Okay. So good. So, yeah. So Jyoti has the correct answer. Khozema has the correct answer. Then, no, Jash, here you are correct. Letter of credit. Bal Vilodhini, non-fund based LCA, letter of guarantee. No. Uh, credit card is not non-fund based. Credit card is unsecured. Okay. So it's incorrect. Rest two are correct. Then, Danish, letter of credit. Parth Sarthi, letter of credit, letter of credit, letter of credit guarantee. Elaya Bharti is also correct. Sharan is also. Commercial paper is a document, Sharan. Yeah. Then Mudra Yojana can be availed by a normal account holder also. Yeah, I don't know. There is a policy document for Zema to it. Okay. So most of you answered correctly. The answer was non-fund basis, letter of credit and guarantee. So the slide came, so I thought let us share that. Okay, good. Then remittances. So let us read about. Now, see, please understand, technology is fundamentally changing the whole banking. Okay. So remittances. Remittances involve transfer of funds from one place to another. The modes of old methods were demand draft, telegraphic transfer, mail transfer. Means I don't know when I last got a demand draft made. In fact, my only recall of getting a demand draft made was when I used to give CA exam some roughly more than 26 years back. So for our exam fees, we used to get a demand draft made. So we had a State Bank of India counter in our city. So that allowed demand draft to be made by cash. So we'll get in a big lines were there because every student was supposed to make a demand draft and then send to the institute. That is only recall I have for this idea about making payments through demand draft. So it's virtually demand draft is not closed. It exists, but it's one of the very the usage over the period of time of demand draft has gone very low. Then TTs, MTs, telegraphic mail transfers, these were also being used, but now because new modes of electronic fund transfers are there, so people go by this RTGS, real-time gross settlement, NEFT, new electronic fund transfer, IMPS, immediate payment system. So these are the new modes of electronic fund transfer from one location to another location. Then collection. Remittances is sending. Collection is allowing bankers to collect on your behalf. Collection involves collecting proceeds on behalf of customers. Customers can lodge various instruments such as checks, drafts, pay orders, traveler's check, dividend interest warrant, tax refund orders. Now, please understand. So, bankers used to act collecting agents. So, collecting money for their customers. Now, what has happened? If you read this first bullet, check, draft, pay order, traveler's check, dividend and interest warrant, tax refund orders, most of them is like tax refund orders. What I know is virtually defunct. All tax refunds are online. Okay. Dividend interest warrant, companies are paying dividend online. So because the necessity for physical instruments is not there, to that extent, banks' collection job for these instruments have been reduced. Okay, so just keep a tag of it. The point is that because they do exist, like you, those of you who are in articleship or those of you who are going to go in your articleship, probably you'll get your stipend check by stipend amount by check. So then you'll have to go to bank deposit. But still, I know means our firm example and many other big firms, most of the firms, they don't pay now stipend through check, they pay through NEFT transfer. So because the usage of these instruments from public life is going, the general business usage is going down, to that extent, collection is also going down. The point is, it is not zero. That is why we are reading it. Okay. Then banks also collect instruments by post office like NSC, National Savings Certificate, postal orders. These are also payment making mechanism. Then, yes, the last two I put in bold. There was a specific purpose of doing it. Cash collection services. Now, please understand, over a period of time, lot of evolution has come in this cash collection services, check collection services. Let me share with a very live example. Probably you must be listening. I was listening. I know don't recall the channel number, but on FM, one of the channels on FM, I think Reserve Bank of India has been giving this advertisement that for senior citizens, I think probably as per their definition, the age of 70 and above, senior citizens can ask their bankers to provide home banking services. Home banking services means senior citizen, he or she need not go physically to the bank. Bank is going to send the representative to the home of the senior citizen and provide the services. Of course, there's some nominal charge the bank is going to charge from the senior citizen, but beyond that, so that becomes cash collection service, check collection services. That is a very small aspect. Let us look to the larger aspect. You all must have traveled on highway, national highways, and our roads. The roads are getting improved and the speed is also getting high. So on those national highways, you have these petrol pumps. Now, petrol pumps, they all have digital payment option, but still, most of the collection at petrol pump may be in cash, and a petrol pump on a remote location on a highway. So how does that employee of the petrol pump carries the cash, say through the forest to the bank to deposit? So banks have started providing secured cash collection services. So banks secured van once in a day on a pre-designated time, it goes to that petrol pump to collect cash for the customer and deposit it in the account of the customer. Very nominal charges bankers take. So these services are evolving based and the services are evolving as economy is upgrading itself. So a lot of cash collection services are being used. So that services are being provided by bank. Same check collection services. Okay. Queries. Yeah, Kuzima, that Mudra Yojana I have answered. They will have guidelines. Bala Vidodhini, credit card is a funded outstanding, just for sake of knowledge. Probably where you must have read your this NPA provisions in your accounts, non-performing asset provision you must have read, probably in accounts or in audit. So when you go to that, just for reference, I'm sharing it. So when you go for this non-performing asset provision, there is something called as a substandard advance. In the substandard advance, there is a general provision as of date that is 15% of the outstanding, but there is a clause written, a condition added to that, that if this substandard advance is unsecured by nature, additional 10% has to be done. So the credit card is a funded limit, but it is unsecured. So if a banker's credit card account goes substandard, then you have to make a 25% provision. So the categorization, it's an unsecured funded advance. That is. Oh, Bhavik Kumar, the point you have made is it's a risk that banker is taking. So leave that. Okay, it is National Electronic Fund Transfer. Thank you. Yeah, look, traveler's check is now see again, the usage is gone very low, but let us do it. Let us practically learn. It's a good question to get answer to. You know, you have been seeing this last 6 months. Travel tourism has like boomed like anything. One of the industries that was worst hit by COVID lockdown was travel, tourism, hospitality, hotel. They were very, very badly hit. But since last 6 months, it has virtually come back to pre-COVID level. In fact, they're crossing that level now. So, so you go to a remote location, say, for example, you go to Gangtok. Now, from your hometown, say in Mumbai, you are going to Gangtok. So you will be doing some expenditure. So you want to cash there. But to physically carry cash is tough. So what you do, you go to Mumbai, go to your bank branch and ask that bank branch to give you 50,000 rupees traveler's check. So the bank branch gives you traveler's check. This you can encash on any State Bank of India account in Gangtok. So that is basically traveler's check. But today, the way e-technology, digital payments are there, so you need not carry traveler's check. But yes, the purpose was to help person get cash at a different location. Yes, Khozema. Yes, sir. Same NSC. ATC, I think. Section U, but same. Yeah, doorstep. Parthasarthi, thank you. 15, 2,500. I couldn't get that, Alok. Okay. So let us go to clearing, the next topic. Then clearing involves collecting instrument on behalf of customers of the bank. So those of you who are getting stipend checks, if it is being paid by check, then you go to your bank branch where you have your saving bank account. There you fill the pay slip, drop in that drop box. That is basically, so that check is collected from you. Then now image clearing is there. So scanning is done and image is sent to the clearing house. So that process is called as clearing. Two very important aspects are there, ECS credit and ECS debit. Please keep a tag of this. So this is how ECS credit looks like. So, so you have more than one people sending money to a single receiver. So I've just tried to give an example that mutual fund or your say state electricity board or public utilities where people are making payment. So this becomes a ECS credit facility that banker provides. So bankers allow a single account to be given where all people can transfer money. Then ECS debit, exactly the reverse of it. So company paying dividend and it is going to ABC shareholders. So that becomes a ECS debit. So I think the diagrams are clear. No explanation to be given on this. Okay. Then LCs and LGs. Yeah, traveler's check is less like coupon. Yes, my understanding is same. Yes, Sharon, but the only thing is you need, see the bank that is going to issue a traveler's check, you must have an account in that bank. Once you have it, you can get it. But just have a tag of it. whether your bank is issuing traveler's check, because the need has gone quite low. The instrument exists, just have a confirmation. Okay. Then letter of credit, letter of guarantee. Okay. So issuing letter of credit and guarantee are two important services rendered by bank to customers engaged in business, industrial and commercial activities. So these are basically referred to as non-funded limits. So letter of credit is, there are basically four parties to a letter of credit. Okay. So let me ask a question and then I'll explain you later on. These are non-funded based limits. So that is clear to all of us. Uh, who is the author of letter of credit, buyer or seller? Who is the author of letter of credit, buyer or seller? Author. Okay. Then once you answer, I'll explain that later on. So I've asked you a question. Who is the buyer of letter of credit? Who is the author of letter of credit, buyer or seller? Then we'll come back to this again. Next is credit card. So credit card, see in the processes that we are going to talk of in this chapter, we'll talk about credit card in reasonable detail. The processing of application for issuance of credit cards is usually a separate division of the bank. Card issuers are Visa, Master, MX, and now our India Rupee card is also getting a lot of prominence. Okay, so that is credit card issuance. And then we all know credit cards. Within the chapter, there is a very detailed discussion on credit card. So when it comes, we'll be doing it. Then debit card. So before I go to debit card, I want to tell me the difference in operation of a credit card and debit card. Means what you have to do, you have to imagine the owner of the card. Suppose I have a debit card and I have a credit card and I make a payment. So suppose I make a payment of 1,000 rupees to a credit card and 1,000 rupees through a debit card. What difference it creates to me, the owner of the card? Okay. And I think I put it clearly. So I have a credit card and I have a debit card. I have used it to make a payment. So what difference it is going to make to me while I am making a payment? Now you have answered on the letter of credit. So let us go back on the letter of credit. Yeah. Yes. So, so letter of credit. So there is a buyer and there is a seller. There is a buyer's bank and there is a seller's bank. So generally four parties are there, but buyer's bank and seller's bank are extension of the buyer seller. Okay. So the author of letter of credit is generally a buyer. So buyer goes to his bank, requests the banker to write a letter of credit favoring where the beneficiary is the seller. So this letter of credit by buyer's bank is given to the seller's bank. What is the underlying thing written? Why letter of credit is used? Because the seller is who is selling goods to the buyer. Seller doesn't know the buyer. So seller tells the buyer, see, I don't know you. You get me a letter of credit. So letter of credit is basically undertaking by the buyer's bank that if buyer does not pay the amount for goods within a specified duration of time, I will pay. So what letter of credit is being issued by the buyer's banker favoring the seller. If buyer fails to make the payment, the buyer's banker will have to make the payment to the seller's bank. That is how it works. So the author of letter of credit is buyer, or buyer is the right word. You can say buyer's banker if you want to do that. So Sumit, you have to add buyer's bank. Okay. Yes, so I think Sujal has said it so correctly. Bank on behalf of the buyer. So I'll take that. Good. Very good. So, see, so practical means, does it require any understanding to remember? No, you can do it like this. Then letter of guarantee. So let me explain that. So at least the business, see, once the business transaction is clear, the definition will be clear. Again, bank guarantee you have read in your other modules. I'm sharing it with a very specific example. Now, you know, this lot of road construction is going across India. Phenomenal development on roads are there. So NHAI, the National Highway Authority of India, is the core agency that gets that road constructed. It allots the road construction contract to big companies. So these big companies in construction business, they are constructing road. Now, suppose a 1,000 crore road has to be constructed. The contract is allotted by NHAI to a construction company, say ABC Construction. Okay, for example. Now, what NHAI wants that, see, we are giving you 1,000 crores road construction contract. You have to give a guarantee amount. So what NHAI says, you have to deposit 100 crores as a guarantee amount to us. So ABC Construction, they deposit 100 crores with NHAI. Now the trouble is that 100 crores ABC has deposited with NHAI. ABC loses lot many things. What it loses, first, it hits the cash flow. Second, it doesn't earn the interest on that. So to do away with this, a third party is brought, that is a banker is brought into this. A tripartite agreement is done. Whatever amount, if NHAI wants an amount, ABC Construction deposits with the bank, say 100 crores as fixed deposit. A tripartite agreement between NHAI, ABC Construction and bank is made, where NHAI says that this amount, 100 crores, is a guarantee to us, to NHAI, that if ABC Construction does not do the work properly, bank is going to give 100 crores to NHAI. It is not going to refund it to the construction company. ABC also says we agree to this. Bank also says we agree to this. So a tripartite agreement creates a bank guarantee. The win-win situation is that it doesn't hit the cash flow of ABC Construction, and it keeps the interest earning. That is how it goes. Okay, so next was debit card and credit card. Let us see. So I'll just read the name because all of you have said it correctly. Good. So Jash, Khuzema, Alok, Dhyanesh, Vedika, Pranev, Piyush, Ilaya Bharti. Yeah, interest may be charged on credit card. It is not mandatory, but if you don't make the payment on due date, interest may be charged. Yes. Harsh, Parthasarthi, Bala Vinodini. Yeah. Okay, good. So all of you have said correctly. Great. So that was the core difference between credit card and debit card. So no need for me to explain to you. Good. So debit cards are issued by bank where customers is having account in the bank. Debit cards are generally issued by, in fact, they are issued by central office because all core banking has allowed banks to create a central operating office like that. Then other banking services by the bank itself. Now see, this lot of innovative products are being brought by bank. So we'll be talking about that. Back operations, the processing. Now what banks have done, you must have observed what I call is a lot of business restructuring is being done by bank. So I'm taking State Bank of India as example that is quite visible. So State Bank of India, what they have done, they have created a separate bank branch for their retail asset processing. What is a retail asset for State Bank? So education loan, vehicle loan, home loan, other personal loans are called as retail asset of the State Bank is telling them as retail asset. So if this is retail, what is the other asset? So asset, because these are advances in the bank balance sheet. Other are like State Bank has got a separate bank branch for what they call as medium corporate borrowers, MCB, or large borrowers. So they start classifying their operations based on the nature of advances given by banks. And why retail banking has been put on this slide, because virtually all banks have realized over a period of time that bulk volume and bulk business is going to come from retail banking. That is why since last 10 years, if you go to Reserve Bank of India website and just have a check, the number of vehicle loans, the number of education loans have increased phenomenally, because this whole option was given to the bankers for retail asset banking. So all banks have created their retail asset portfolio. Just give me a second. Then banks have started this very specialized service for high net worth individuals where people earning good. So they are provided specialized service by the bank based on the nature of services they need. So HNI bankers have special like this lounge services for the HNI individuals. They've got home delivery banking for HNI. So all checkbook, cash books are directly delivered to this HNI individuals. Then specialized services on the next slide. Let us see your queries. No, Sharon, money transfer speed is not an issue. The issue is debit and uh, credit for a period of time. That is the core issue. Give me a second. Okay, we'll just. So let us look to specialized services. Now, loan, underwriting, life insurance, non-life insurance. So these additional services are now being provided by the bank to their customers. Underwriting is this acting as merchant bankers. Now, virtually all banks have got a joint venture for life insurance, joint venture for non-life insurance. I think you've read life and non-life, so you know fire, medical, these are non-life insurance policies. So all banks have got a joint venture for these. So because banks have joint ventures and then banks have existing customers, so bank can sell their products to their existing customers for insurance, non-life insurance. So that is the very specialized services banks have started providing. Then overview of core banking system. Okay. So characteristics of core banking system, the core banking vendors and key modules. So we'll take core banking characteristics from the module itself. Let us see. Just give me a second. Yeah. So the core characteristics, we most of them we have discussed as an introduction to this chapter. Let us read through. So core banking system is a centralized banking application software that has several components which have been designed to meet the demands of banking industry. Now, please understand the word that we must pick is say components. Now, components means a bank may be providing some very specialized category of services. So this core banking system, the core banking software must cater to that service that the banker is providing, so that whatever the demand of bank is there, it can be met through. So that is core banking system. Then core banking is supported by advanced technology infrastructure and has high standard of business functionality. Please understand, Just imagine how many customers State Bank of India or big private banks are going to have. So crores of customers they have and crores of transaction in quantity they do daily. The value of the transaction may be hundreds and thousands of crores. So if so much transaction is being done and which is being done on core banking system, so the technology the banker has to use has to be very, very advanced, and high standard of business functionality means that technology, whatever the banker is using, it must meet the requirement of the business to which bank is providing services. So that aspect is very, very important. Please understand, as business is growing, as business is evolving, so banking is growing, banking is evolving. When I shared the history how core banking system came to the present status as it is, please understand the way bank is today, whatever state you look at the bank, just a day before business was in the same state, because bank is providing service to business. So as business evolves, banker has to also evolve. Business requires new functionality, banker has to provide new functionality. That is how they are linked together. Then there is a core common database in central server located at a data center. Now, in the introduction, I said that core banking system basically means having common database, common application, where that common database and application is situated at a central server. Central server is the computer's name is central server. Where it is physically located, it is at the data center of the bank. So, like for only as an example, let us take Mumbai, where many headquarters of the bank are there. So we assume that the data center of those banks will be in their headquarters itself. So all banks with whichever city they have head office, the data center is in the head office. So let us assume that. So when data center is in the head office, the central server is located in the head office. The common database is in head office. All operations are being managed through that central database. Then core banking solution brings significant benefits such as a customer is a customer of the bank, not of the branches. This is very, very important. So once core banking system is there, you identify yourself as a bank branch customer. So that identification has lost some value. Now you don't identify as a customer of this branch of a bank. You identify yourself as a customer of this bank because you can do banking from any location. Still, beyond that, each bank branch has what we call as the IFSC code. Okay. So that code is identifies the branch. So that checkbook that you have, it has the code mentioned in that. That is for more of what I consider as a logical way of keeping track of the source and documentation of the transaction. Beyond that, even that check which has the IFSC code of the bank branch where my saving bank account is there, I can use that check across India of all the branches of that bank. So today, the whole banking has become customer centric. That word, if you want to carry. So today, banks are operating in customer centric environment where the focus is customer, where the focus is to provide as much service to the customer as possible to ensure that the customer gets best from whatever functionality banker has to offer. Then core banking is modular in structure, capable of being implemented in just as per the requirement of the bank. Please understand, you must understand the word modular or a concept of modularity. See, in chapter 2, when we talked about ERP package, we did discuss this. In fact, there's a lot of discussion on the modularity as a concept of an ERP system. Same is here also. Let us recall that discussion. So there was a module of finance accounting, there was a module of controlling, there was a module of material management, there was a module of sale and distribution, there was a module of product development, production planning and control. So these are different modules. Same way, a core banking software also has modules. So there could be a loan module, there could be a deposit module. Within loan module, there could be cash credit loan module. Within loan module, there could be KCC module. So based on the requirement of the banker, you can get the modules and implement. Suppose your requirement goes up, say today as a banker, you are not giving KCC advance. Only for example, suppose you are not giving KCC advance, then tomorrow you start giving KCC advance because there is a lot of business into it. So you can get a KCC advance module and implement with your core banking system. So modularity means to be able to break down the whole thing into small, separately usable components that you call as modularity. So all core banking systems that we look, imagine, use have modularity built into it. Every banker, as per its need, buy the module and they start using that module. All branches of the bank's function as delivery channel providing service to its customer. We have already talked about it in the history of the bank. What I said that today the branches have become transaction processing center, the location where customer can interface with the bank. The customer is now a customer of the bank, not customer of the branch. So the branches are more to help the customer talk to the bank. That is so now they become delivery channel of all the services that the banker is providing. And a core banking software enables integration of third-party applications, including in-house banking software to facilitate simple and complex business processes. Please understand what we are reading through. I am sharing two different examples, one for the input and one for the output. Like today, many accounting softwares allow the bank statement to be automatically read in their accounting software. So you get the many accounting software allow bank statement to be read. So when the bankers mail the bank statement to the user, the user uh, picks the bank statement in the accounting software and all the entries are automatically done. Vice versa is also there. Like, for example, the person who's doing Forex transaction, complex Forex transactions, so he creates, like we have been doing NEFT. So when we do NEFT for payments to our office, what we do, we create an Excel sheet in a specified format for the bank. We have to send authorization letter, but that Excel sheet has to be also sent to the bank. So what the banker does, because that Excel sheet is in a specified format, it directly picks that Excel sheet and once the authorization letter is received, it picks the Excel sheet and allow all the debits to be made based on that. So this cross software integration is there. The only thing is that this integration of all means those which can be integrated. You need to have an interface between two applications when they talk to each other. So those which can integrate interface, that you allow to talk to each other. So that is characteristics of core banking system. Yeah, you can say, Manoj, module is functionality. Okay. So I'm going to the, okay, it's 7. After this, we'll take a break. First, let us see the diagram. So the key modules, we'll be discussing that, just bringing it. Back office, data warehouse, credit card system, ATM switch, backend, central server, and front end application, mobile banking, internet, phone banking, branch banking. So these are the key modules that exist in any banking core banking system. You can always add, please understand, these are illustrative. So if you look at this flow chart, it covers 90% of all core banking systems. Still, need-based upgrades can be, we've already talked about banking, core banking system is modular. So based on the need, you can always add more to what you are looking at on the screen. Okay. So this are back office, data warehouse, credit card system, automated teller machine, central server, internet banking, mobile banking. You can add more to this. Okay. We'll take one by one. I think it's time to take a break. So we are having a break. It is 17:14. So 10 minutes, 17:24 will join. A break. modular is basically any system as a whole, when it can be broken into parts, components, functions, and those parts can work independently. So that is called as what you say modularity as a concept, where a whole program can be divided into functions and each function can operate independently. That we call as modularity. Okay. Then Manoj, yeah, we have agreed that it can be based on the functions based division. Let us continue. So first is phone banking. Now see, you this IVR systems, they allow you to do transaction through phone banking. So system has its own way of identifying the voice of the caller and ensuring that the right person is there. So they, whenever you do phone banking, there's a validation process that the caller is the account holder or the genuine person, and then the phone banking goes by. Branch banking, we all have experienced that. All manual documents capturing is basically done at the branch level, and then it is put in the software. There are internal authorization processes. There is a beginning of day operation and end of day operation. Please understand these both are very, very, very important. Once you go for this, as those of you who have the opportunity to go for bank branch audit, please ask the branch manager to give you a very special report that I am sharing. If you want, you just keep a note of it. There is a concept of exception report. It is generated at the end of the day operation. दिन के आखिर के ऑपरेशन जब हो जाते हैं तब एक्सेप्शन रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट होते हैं. These exception reports are very important reports for auditor purpose. So end of day operation of the branch. Now, please understand, whatever bank branch is, wherever it is physically situated, because we are in core banking system environment, end of the day operations are not going to be done at the branch level. End of the day operations are basically done at the data center level. So virtually all, for example, a bank has its end of day operation planned at 11:30 p.m. in the night. So for all bank branches, end of day will be done at 11:30 p.m. तो सभी बैंकों का एंड ऑफ डे एक साथ करते हैं रात को 11:30 बजे. Once end of day is generated, for each branch, specific report is generated. One that I have talked to you is exception report. Another one is given here, like at the end of this slide, reviewing reports for control and error correction. Within this, you can add exception also. So these are very, very, very important reports for auditors' perspective. Please understand. Most of the audit analysis of the bank, what nature of problems a bank branch is having, are tagged through these reports which are generated at the end of the day operation. So just keep a tag of them. Then core features of core banking system. So what are there in core banking system? In fact, I must have allowed you to write that, but let us read through how it is given in the module. Okay. So online real-time processing. We'll first read, then I'll explain. Okay. Transactions are posted immediately. All database updated simultaneously. Centralized operation. Separate hierarchy for business and operation. Business and services are productized. Remote interaction with customers. Reliance on transaction balancing. We'll read and then come back again. Highly dependent system-based controls. Authorization occurs within application. Increased access by staff at various levels based on authorization. Daily, half-yearly, annual closing. You can add in this line monthly as well as quarterly closing. Okay. Because now all public sector, big private sector banks are listed companies. So they generate monthly closings, monthly balance sheet, quarterly they have to submit to stock exchanges. So daily, half-yearly, annual, add monthly and quarterly here. Automatic process of standing instruction, we'll see. I'm just reading, then we'll come back to each of them again. centralized interest application to all accounts and account types, anytime, anywhere access to customers and vendors, banking across multiple channels, real-time seamless merging of data from back office and self-service operation, significant reduction in error and reduced operational cost. Now let us take each one by one. It's a very important discussion. This is going to help us understand, grasp exactly what core banking system is about. Okay. So online real-time processing. Now, during the course of our discussion from chapter 1, we must have talked about a word called as batch processing. So there are three words that exist when I talk of processing: batch processing, online, and real-time processing. Batch is where you accumulate transaction and process. So in batch processing, there is a time delay between occurrence of transaction and processing of the transaction. Online processing, there is no time delay. So as soon as you do the transaction, it is updated in system. Real-time processing is that it's an online system, but based on the parameters generated, a action is triggered in the system. That processing is called as real-time processing. So batch, online, and real-time. All banking operations which are core banking today are online real-time processing. I'm just giving with a very simple example. Okay, we did talk about this in chapter 1 also. When day 1 of our lecture of the class, we talked about that a purchase system is linked to the inventory system. So if inventory's level goes to reorder level, it gives a trigger to the purchase system, and purchase system generates a purchase order. So purchase generating purchase order based on the trigger by inventory makes this process real time. Exactly, just convert that into a banking scenario, how real time may be looking in bank. So just sharing with an example. Say, for example, you do a transaction, you have a saving bank account, and your bank mandates that a saving bank account must have 1,000 rupees as minimum cash balance. So you withdraw some amount, minimum balance has to be 1,000 rupees. So withdraw some amount through ATM, and suppose my account goes below 1,000 rupees. So what happens? As soon as my account goes below 1,000 rupees, my bank system immediately sends an SMS to me that my minimum balance has gone below the required balance. So that makes it real time. So it is basically that if a transaction has occurred in system, it triggers the next action automatically. That is online real time processing. Then transactions are posted immediately. In this discussion takes care of that part also, because it is real time. So whatever updates are there, they are posted immediately. All database are updated simultaneously. This is what we all need to understand. In fact, this is where the core definition of core banking system lies, that any action you do at any location, that the update is simultaneous. Then centralized operation, all transactions are stored in one common database server. This we've talked about. Separate hierarchy for business and operation. That is that front end and back end. So where we go as a customer, that becomes the front end, and the transactions are being processed at the back end. That distinction, because technology has allowed it to happen, so that distinction has been clearly made, and most of the bankers have started using it. This example of State Bank I shared, that State Bank of India has started creating specialized branches for retail assets, commercial advances. So all that segregation between business and operation is there. In fact, just for the sake of understanding, I am sharing this. Clearing houses. What clearing house do? They clear checks. We have taken example in earlier chapters. Now, what has happened that because image clearing is there, so today all banks clearing houses have been centralized. So they may be a clearing house at a state level, but virtually because it's image clearing of check, so you need not have a physical clearing house. So what it means, that a bank that is collecting check from customers, that becomes the front end. The processing of that check is now system driven. So initially when check clearing was there, there was a designated staff in the bank who used to collect the checks, make the inventory of the checks, make the details of the check. A very specialized calculator was there. I don't know whether you have seen that. So that the clerk of the bank who used to go to the physical clearing house in the city, he used to make a summary of the checks that he's taking to the clearing house, so that there is no loss of transaction. But today it's image clearing. The you create an image and send it for processing. Because it's image clearing, so the core banking business is being done at the branch level. There is no staff for that clearing operation at the bank level. It is system driven, it is online. So that check clear maybe at, suppose you drop a check, you are in Mumbai, you drop a check at your bank branch in Mumbai. uh, you don't know whether it is being processed, some problem comes, so the bank tells you, the check has gone to a centralized clearing location, and centralized clearing location is in Kolkata. It's a possibility. So that allows segregation of the core banking business to operation. Now what is the benefit of this? Benefit of this is that the people at the bank branch need to focus on their banking operation. They need not worry about the back end operation. So it adds lot of quality to the service delivery the banker is giving to their customer. That is a deep impact. This discussion leads to the next one. Because of this, business and services are converted into commodity or productized. Exactly. That is why if you've just been listening to the advertisements that bankers are giving, just read as they appear in Financial Daily, you'll feel the difference. So today, when bankers give advertisement, just this during COVID, there was a lot of advertisement being given by the bank that if you want to open a saving bank account, you need not go to the bank. You can open it through a video validation of KYC. Phenomenal. That has been possible because there is a clear-cut segregation of the operations of the bank and the front end, the way it deals with the customers. That is the next point we have talked about, remote interaction with the customers, video calling, video KYC. I'll request you to add this. See, we have already talked about that, what quality we want to add. Please add it. It's there. There's nothing that is hidden. Okay. So video calling of the customer, video KYC. KYC is know your customer, allowing customers to open their saving bank account through video calling. And it became a critical aspect in COVID, and that there was big advertisements on TV channels, the companies, bankers hiring big actor and actresses to promote that idea. So remote interaction with customers. Then reliance on transaction balancing. Now, transaction balancing is that because see, you need to understand that how banking operation is there. So what I want, I'll put a point to you. You have to say yes or no in the chat. So if you, based on your answer, will come to this topic again. So the whole banking operation is based on what is called as the GL and SL, general ledger and sub ledger. So the question to you is that, do you know this under, you must have read this, general ledger and sub ledger accounting. Please say yes in the chat, and based on your answer, we'll come back to this point. This is very important. Then, highly dependent on system-based control. Yes, because the core banking system is that everything is automated, everything is system-driven. So your system-based controls have to be very effective, and bankers depend a lot on that. Yes, they have no option. They will have to depend on that. So that dependency on system is very high. Then authorization occurs within the application. This I like to share practically. See, when you go to bank branch, suppose you want to withdraw cash and you give a self check in the bank branch. So the cashier gives you a token. I think I must have talked about this. Let's just visualize what operations are going at the back end. What cashier does with your check. So as soon as you go to the window of the cashier, you give your withdrawal slip or the check, self check, say for example, withdrawing 25,000 rupees. So cashier writes a number. The cashier gives you a metal token and tells you that there's a display board. So if your token number comes, come to the cash counter, collect your cash and go. That is front end. Now just the back end I am sharing with you. So once the token is given to you, the cashier updates your check details in system, in the core banking system used by the bank. The token number is also entered there, and he presses enter with details of the check and the amount you want to withdraw. As soon as he presses the enter, the transaction goes to the authorized official in the bank. So, in fact, the authorized official is sitting in the window near the cashier itself. If you watch the cashier, you know what he does? The check, the physical check you have given, he puts in a book and hands over that book to the authorizing officer. The officer takes the book from the internal window of the bank. He opens that page, goes to the transaction cashier has already entered. He checks the details on the check, validates your signatures, validates the availability of amount in your account, validates the requisite details, and then he authorizes the transaction in the system itself. So the approval is given in the system. As soon as the approval is given by the officer, he writes the approval number on the check, again puts the check in the book, hands it back to the cashier. Cashier gets the check along with the book. As soon as cashier is free, he presses the counter number. It is displayed on the counter. You go to the cashier, withdraw cash. That is authorizations occur within the application. So everything is system driven. Then increased access by staff at various levels based on authorization. Yes, based on the rules that you allow, based on the definitions you give, people can do transaction access system as per their rules, as per their sanction given. And this one I want you to add, please add daily, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, annual closing. And just add one more line to this. Every closing generates reports. So there are going to be daily reports, there are going to be monthly reports, there are going to be quarterly reports, half yearly and annual, and each report is going to have its own significance. Then next is automatic processing of standing instruction. Now, what exactly is a standing instruction? With this example, you will all understand. Suppose someone has taken a loan and the repayment of loan has to be done. So say 2000 rupees is the equated monthly installment that has to be debited to your saving bank account. So give an instruction to the loan company that every month on 5th of the month, you debit 2000 to my account. That is basically standing instruction. So telling the bank that this transaction you have to do on this frequency, monthly, quarterly, as so when you want to give a standing instruction, there's a form that bankers ask you to fill in which all these details are there. So these standing instructions are also automatically processed. They are tagged to your bank account on that specified date. That much amount will be debited to your account or credited, or whatever instruction is there that is going to be executed. Then next is again very, very, very important. See, the way banking has changed in the last 25 years is phenomenal. And this is one aspect that has changed the whole operations. Centralized application of interest for all accounts and account type. So previously, the interest calculation, when I told you that there was a concept of total branch automation. In that scenario, suppose you have a cash credit loan account in a bank branch. So the interest calculation for your account will be done by the branch and debited to your account. Now imagine State Bank of India has more than 30,000 branches and each branch is calculating interest. So the multiplicity of calculation and human error, that is a huge job. Now, because there is a core banking system, applications are centralized, the rate of interest is regulated, it is predefined in system, products are calculated in system. So at the central head office level, there is a designated officer, he presses a button. As soon as that individual presses a button, for all loan accounts of that category, interest is calculated and debited to that. In fact, just sharing something more practical, you will learn there is a concept of revenue audit in bank. Revenue audit of bank is what? That where auditor is appointed. Chartered accountants do it. We have been doing it. Many chartered accountants across India do it. So a revenue audit is that banker appoints a chartered accountant to do an audit to find areas where bank has lost revenue. So you go for audit and then you check how the bank system is working. So one of the key areas where most of the auditors 10 years back used to find, or 15 years back used to find revenue leakage was interest calculation, because there was a lot of gap in calculation. The rate of interest was not correct. The product was not calculated. The interest was not debited on the right date, and change of interest was not updated in system. Numerous issues. But now, since last 15 years, because calculation of interest has been made centralized, all dates are put centralized, all rates are put centralized, all calculation are centralized. So all revenue auditors have got this, that their revenue recovery on interest calculation has reduced to a phenomenal extent. So that is the benefit bankers are getting, because they are not debiting interest on a centralized manner through system. Then next is easy, anytime, anywhere access to customer. We have talked about, I've shared that now. Someone did put it in the chat also, that previously you were customer of a bank branch, now you're customer of bank. Then banking across multiple channels. Please understand, multiple channels means the way you can do. Okay, I'm asking this question, right? Answer to this. So in the chat, I want you to write that suppose you have a account in your bank branch. You have to write in the chat, what are the number of ways you can access your bank account? So you have an account in a bank, a branch of the bank. So you have to write in the chat, what are the number of ways you can access your bank account? Okay, then I'll come back to this again. Then real-time seamless merging of data from back office to self-service operation. Now, we have talked about this. Central data processing is there. Database is centralized. Applications are centralized. So whatever processing is done is centralized, and closures are also done on centralized manner. Significant reduction in error. I've given this example of revenue audit. It's a very good example to carry. Reduced operational costs. Why? Because now, just understand total branch automation. So so understand this as an example only. State Bank of India had 35,000 branches, say for example. So in total branch automation, State Bank of India will have to buy 35,000 servers. Imagine the cost. Now today, it need not have that much. It will require more than one server, but they will be at centralized level. 35,000 servers, maintenance cost, AMC cost. Now centralized, everything is reduced. So that leads to reduction of cost. Okay. Now you're putting many queries, and I'm expecting answer to my question on how you can access your bank branch account. Yes, Jyoti. So customers now deal with the bank. Sharon, modular I've explained, breaking the whole system into small parts. Yes. Alok, the batch number on a medicine is basically to keep a track of that medicine, because if something goes wrong, then they can trace back. We have been reading this lot of this cough syrups going as per the report being exported outside India, and some issue is coming. So the batch number helps track those medicines. Yeah, Manoj, see, difference between online and real time is that online, you do a transaction, it updates the system. Okay. Real time is that the update triggers an action. That is real time. So when system is updated, that is online. When it triggers another action, it makes it real time. The best example is the stores and the inventory linked to the purchase. So in the inventory module, suppose I issue inventory from my stores and update. So as soon as I issue and update my inventory, it is online. The update of inventory is that the inventory is below reorder level. Because the inventory is below reorder level, my inventory system is linked to my purchase system. As these items goes below reorder level, it triggers an information to purchase. Purchase generates a purchase order. This generation of purchase order is real time. So status of system triggering an action is real time. Yeah, Kuzima. SLR, CRR, great. Insurance by video call. Okay. So GLSL, you have said yes, no. So let me just go back. Now see the last one. See, just understand it. How bank, even in core banking system, how it is operating. So there's a concept of general ledger. So the bank trial balance is made from general ledger. In this general ledger, there are control accounts. So there is a saving bank control account. Okay. So when I say saving bank control account, is there is a related saving bank subledger. So if you have account number, your saving bank account number doesn't exist in the GL of the bank. It exists in the SL of the bank. Saving bank subledger. So your account number is below this saving bank subledger. Now, general ledger has a saving bank control account, so it has a balance. What this balance is? This balance is basically total of all these saving bank account balance held. So this saving bank subledger generates a total of all amount held in the saving bank account, and this total is transferred to the GL. That is how it. So this is GL and SL. Now, when you deposit, withdraw any amount, so it has to hit your saving bank account. Your saving bank account lies below the subsidiary ledger saving bank, and that effect has to go to GL also, because suppose you have deposited cash hits GL and your saving bank account lies below the subsidiary ledger. So the chance of mismatch is there. That is why this issue of transaction balancing is very important. In fact, those of you who go for bank statutory bank branch audit, you've read a word in your audit, LFAR, long form audit report. It's a special report to be given by all bank branch auditors to Reserve Bank of India. So one of the point asked is there that whether the book balancing is uh, daily done or not. The books have to be balanced. So that is an aspect to keep tag of. Yes. So that answers the last point. Banking across multiple channels. So I'll read the channels. Okay. And I'm not reading your name. So net banking, mobile banking, net internet banking, mobile application, physical visit, going to the branch, mobile banking, net banking, physical access, passbook, debit card, online app, physically, mobile app, website through third-party app, ATM, other apps. Yes, physical by mobile, go to bank physically, personally through mobile, through bank, net banking, offline visit app. So these are channels. Multiple channels means these are the locations through which you can access a bank. Good. Yes, I that is good. I wanted someone to say ATM also, because through ATM also you can access, do a lot of transaction in your bank account. Phone banking, great. No, has no need to go into that detail. Just remember the words NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer, and RTGS, real time gross settlement. Don't get confused. You are concerned with the front end. Leave the back end. Okay. No need to understand it. There's some discussion, it will come, I'll tell you. Beyond that, not needed right now. Okay. That is. So that was main topic one, overview of banking service and related IT risk and control. Now we'll go to the next one. Components and architecture. So just giving you 30 seconds, you can put your query. No. Alok, so query sending and it is updating on the chat is online. Me reading and answering immediately is real time. Yes, Kojama, you do. In fact, when you do it through your feature phone, we talked about in chapter 4. So when you send an SMS, yes, in fact, good Kojama. So that is also a channel. The point Kojama was making, USSD would be a channel. I think the answer is yes, because it allows access to your bank account. You can check balance. You can, I think there's some debit amounts also you can do. Okay. Let us go ahead. Main topic 2, component and architecture of core banking system. Within this topic, we'll be talking about core banking system, IT environment, technology component of core banking system, the functional architecture, the internet banking process, the e-commerce transaction processing, case study on deployment, and implementation of core banking system. Within this search, you'll get some idea about the backend, but don't put that effort into understanding as of now, not needed, not beyond definitions. Okay, let us go ahead. So core banking system, the IT environment. Now, so the core is that bank has number of servers, database server. Now, please understand, let us define the word server first. Okay. So what exactly is a server? So server is that provides service to the user. Recall chapter 3, okay, tier 2, tier 3 network. Now, server is that provides the service to the user. Who is the user? I am the user. Who is the service provider? Bank is the service provider. So bank has a system, bank has a computer, bank has a hardware that is providing service to the user. So that becomes a server. Now, because bank is providing multiple services and volume is there and data is there, so bank need to have more than one server. So they create server for a specific functionality, specific use, specific purpose. So the name of the server is a good indication of what exactly is going into the server. So database server, application server, automated teller, machine channel server, internet banking server, internet banking application server, web server, proxy server, antivirus software. Please understand this list is as in the module. If the need comes, you can add more servers. So if bank has, say, different category, you talked about multiple channels. So bank can create server for its multiple channels. Like ATM is a channel, so there is a server for it. Internet is a channel, there is a server for it. So the examples you gave, you can create separate server for each of them based on your requirements. So it is not restrictive, it is illustrative for learning. But whatever is here, whatever is in the module, that takes care of more than 90% of all servers deployed by bank. Okay. So these are the servers. Then others you can deploy based on the requirement as they come. Then how it operates. So client is you and me. Channel server, the branch server, ATM, point of sale, terminal switch. IVR, the video caller server. WAP, SMS server. Alok did ask, so SMS server is there. Web server. In fact, it is a good understanding that you can create, suppose bank has big operations and each channel of the bank has created good volume. So what banker can do, all the channels you said, they can create a separate server for that channel. So that allows us to create a good definition of channel server and understand the idea behind server, what exactly servers are doing. Then application server, intelligence, transaction processing monitors, host connect, which allow this connection to be made, and host database. So Oracle DBMS is an example. It could be different. And execution logic, how it is going to be done through. So this is now, please understand, if you look from the left side of your screen and reach the right side, probably it also illustrates the way transaction is flowing. So customer goes to the branch, interacts with the branch, the branch interacts with the application server, it interacts with the host server. This is a good illustration of how the transaction is being processed. Then technology components of core banking system. So the software resides in centralized application server, which is in the central office data center. Now, do understand, see here, server is written as a singular. So when you read server as a singular, it doesn't mean it is singular, it is plural. It includes all the servers that we talked about in the previous slide. But to ensure discussion goes on, beyond this point, all are being talked in a single word as a singular. So all servers of the bank are at the central office data center. In fact, this example itself allows us to take the discussion to next level based on the requirement, based on the necessity, based on the technology, based on the infrastructure. Banker may select that some servers are at a data center and some servers are at B data center. So it's open-ended. It is not restrictive. Please understand, there is nothing that is restricted in technology like that. You can do upgrade as per your need, as per your requirement. Okay. The key technology component of core banking system are as follows: the database environment, the application environment, the cyber security, network security, secure configuration, application security, data center, disaster recovery center, online transaction monitoring for fraud risk management. So these are the core technology components. Let us create definitions for them. So database environment, the database server, application where the core banking system resides, security. In fact, today, one of the most critical aspects for all banking application is security. Core banking system, internet, mobile banking, net banking, ATM banking, phone banking. So this security has become very, very important. To create this security, you require proper network security, proper configuration of networks. Application has to be secured. Then next is again very important, data center and disaster recovery center. Please understand, till the point we have been talking now, data center was head office of the bank, head office of the bank. Just understand, those of you who are in Mumbai, you will recall, or those who are from Chennai, we had tsunami some years back. Before tsunami, we had a huge flooding in Mumbai. So all banks' data center that were in Mumbai, they were flooded. Few banks could operate even when their data center were flooded because those few banks had disaster recovery center, DRC, what we call, at a distant location. So suppose my main data center is Mumbai, my parallel disaster recovery center is say in Kolkata. So Mumbai was hit by flooding, Kolkata was not hit. So I could keep operations on. Just carry this word. Every bank which has a data center, it needs to create a disaster recovery center for an entity like bank. If, just take it as an example, if the main data center server cost is say 500 crores, its disaster recovery center server cost has to be 500 crores. So it has to create a parallel working data center because bank cannot allow itself, the way banks are now, they cannot allow itself to be hit by a disaster and shut down business. They need to have a disaster recovery center that is called as DRC. So data center, DRC. Then monitoring of online transaction for tracking fraud. This has become very, very, very important. Key aspects built into architecture of core banking system. The flow of information, that diagram we talked about, it is customer centric. So all banking today is looking towards the customer. So I use this word customer centric. So front end is where the customer is interacting with the bank branch. Regulatory compliance, to ensure compliances are there and the resources are put to optimum use. Those becomes core objectives for any banking. Okay. Now, before we go to functional, there are some queries. So let me answer them. Okay. So Sharon, your query is not clear. Please type it again and rest others I am answering. So first was teller. Okay. Okay. I thought, Harsh, this before ATMs became prevalent. So there was a counter. Okay. It's a good question, Harsh. It's a learning question. Let me answer that. Okay. Like I talked about this, you go to a bank to withdraw 25,000 rupees cash. So how did we saw the transaction? We saw the transaction that the cashier gives you a token, keeps your check in a notebook, gives it to an officer to authorize. The authorization comes and then the cashier gives you cash. Okay. Now, in fact, teller was a designated window in bank. So it was all in one. All in one means what? To ensure that customer gets cash fast, what was done? the teller was created. It was a physical window. A person will be sitting inside that. That person was given an authorization to allow withdrawal of 10,000 without requiring approval of the officer. So, how does it help? If you go to a teller window in the bank, you give a check for cash withdrawal of 10,000 rupees. That person is authorized to create your voucher and approve it also. So he checks the balance, he validates this, he or she checks the balance, he or she checks the signatures, other details on the check, and immediately gives you cash. Imagine the two transactions. Previous, when the check was going to the officer, you were given a token. You were sitting in the bank branch. When token number came on the display, you got cash. In the second case, 10,000 rupees, you go to the teller, the designated window, the person is sitting, he or she is authorized for taking the check, accepting it, approving it. Immediately you got cash. So the time was saved. In fact, it was a good question to answer because discussion to this question allows us to learn a word that we are using so frequently, ATM. Now recall the word ATM and multiply by the definition of teller. Automatic teller machine. ATM is that. You got my point. So this ATM the word was created because this designation of teller was there. Teller is a person who can do everything. So ATM is everything. You put the transaction, authorization, get your cash. So there this ATM came about. Okay. Then web server. So see, web servers will be managing the applications, web applications of the bank. Those will be web servers. That is. In fact, Harsh, it was a good question because as I started explaining you, I personally realized it's good to explain because it tells how ATM came into existence. Yes. So that individual was source of the idea behind ATM, the nomenclature. I go by this faith that teaching is learning. So when you teach, you always learn. That is the point. Okay. Then functional architecture of core banking system. Now, please understand, topic 2 and topic 3 are fundamentally different. Topic 2 is technology. Topic 3 is function, means what it is doing. So you're actually now looking at how it is working. This we'll have a good discussion on this diagram. Just give me a second. Okay, I'll just yeah. Now see, what you are basically looking at is the functional architecture. Functional architecture means it includes every aspect, the front end, the back end, the modules. Many of you have been asking what's a module is. So that module is also going to come here. Let us try to see. Okay. So I'll just read. So first is ECI, Enterprise Customer Information. What it has: origination, marketing, sales, service, interaction, communication channels, knowledge base, 360-degree view. So all this becomes part where customer is interacting. Okay. Then consumer banking and wealth management. So this includes consumer banking, saving deposits, retail loans, mortgage, time deposit, Islamic banking, wealth management solutions, insurance, structured products, mutual funds. So see, if you look to this only, consumer banking and wealth management, this is basically connecting itself to the customer. Okay. The base front end customer. Then you have a corporate banking and trade finance. So current account, overdraft, loan syndication, securitization, commercial lending, forward contracts, export import financing, like that, guarantees. So here, this whole from here till here is basically referred to as product factory. What things banker is offering. Then the functional services in that uh, here. So I'll highlight the functional service. This this includes standing orders, the instructions we talked about, sweeps, pooling, payment system, limits, collaterals, bill payment, liquidity management, clearing, referrals. So the functional system, how it is operating. Okay. So what it is doing. Then business modules, business component, interest. So these are going to be used again, and like exchange rate, you have to specify virtually every day. It may be more than once in a day you need to specify. Rate of interest. What is the inventory of the items you carry? So these are the functional aspects of any banking system. Okay. So this is functional architecture of banking. Just have a overview. Let me just, yeah. So then at the end, you have this audit also there, reporting, accounting backbone. So all these are GLs, multi-currency accounting, transaction manager. So this is how a bank, functionally bank is operating from the top. These are the modules which are working in the bank. Now let us let us do one activity on this one. Suppose I am a bank and I am not doing securitization. So securitization is a type of transaction that you all understand. So if I'm not doing securitization, what I'll do, I'll tell the bank, the software vendor, that we don't need module for securitization because we are not doing it. So that adds modularity to this whole discussion of banking, the core banking system. Okay. So core banking solution is the enterprise resource planning software of a bank. It covers all aspects of banking operation from macro to micro perspective, covers the entire gamut of service provided by the bank, transactions at counters to online transaction up to GL and reporting as required. So it is how it is working. Again, the word core banking is modular. So we took that example in nature and generally implemented for all functions or for core functions as decided by the bank. So if you are a banker, whatever is your need, that you implement, that you buy. Then internet banking process. So we have a question. Yeah, I'm coming to the. No, it's basically Vedika and Bala Vinodhini. Both have asked a question. It's basically the way Islam talks about interest charging. So they say we must have it. We must not charge interest. That is why. So it's a very different category of operations. That is how they want to operate. Okay. Then internet banking process. Yeah. So Jasmine, that was exactly what I said. So it's an interest. You can just remember banking without interest, like that. Just remember it like that. That will clear the definition. So again, going to the module. Yeah. Now, what we'll do, we'll save time on this because it's reasonably detailed and you all know it. I'll just run through it very fast. Okay. Let us see. There has to be a flow chart to this. No. So let us run through this fast. Okay. So internet banking process. So now you are going for net banking. You have to apply to the bank for this. You get a user ID and password. Do not share user ID password. Change your password as soon as you log in for the first time. Internet facility could be used only by accessing website of the bank. So you have to access the website through the designated browsers. On access, user is directed to secure web server. So someone had a question. So this internet banking application can be run on a secured web server. The internet banking website is hosted on this web server. The web server is central data center of the bank. Access to web server is permitted to authorized users, those who will have the login ID and password. To protect web server from unauthorized access use, the traffic is necessary to go to past a firewall. Now, see, please understand this technical word. We have read about firewall. So this firewall will be installed where? Right now, the intention is this firewall is installed at the banking system so that they keep a tag of who is accessing, who is not accessing, whether the access is secured or not. The firewall is designed in such a fashion that only traffic that is addressed to the web server through authorized location port is permitted. Then an individual who accesses the website of the bank through the browser will be able to access the web server, and there will be display of the bank's web page on the screen of the client's computer. So you type that, you get the name of the bank displayed. The web page will provide all information generally at the interest to public. The web page also has a specified area wherein a mention of user ID password will be made. So at a specified location, you have to put your user ID password. Then you enter the main application of the bank. The password will not be displayed. It is going to be in encrypted form, dots or asterisks. Then just because password has come more than once, please understand when you do net banking, virtual keyboard, please say yes, no. Virtual keyboard, yes, no. Okay, so you say yes, no to virtual keyboard, then I'll explain password again once more. It's a learning thing, means you can practically keep a tag of it. Okay. The web server forwards the customer details to internet banking application server. So on web server, another server is accessed IBAS, which in turn accesses the internet banking app database server. So this is so based on the necessity to create an infrastructure. Okay. The server has already the database of all the customers who have been provided internet banking facility. For each customer, it would be having details about user ID and password. Okay. The information received from web server is verified with data of the customer held in the application server. Should the information not tally, the message access denied. In fact, now you have this concept of OTP, one-time password is also there. Okay. So sometimes you may type the password incorrectly, an error goes to you. Normally, 3 attempts are permitted. If you do it for more than 3 wrong password, log out, and probably your access is blocked for number of periods, say 24 hours, 48 hours, then only you can get it back. Or you have to click on a forget password and do some validation, then you can recreate your password. Based on the authentication check, the internet banking application server sends an acknowledgement to web server that person is authorized. Now access is allowed. The web service displays the message. Authentication is completed. The customer is provided this facility. Now customer has logged on to the banking facility of the bank. Then you can do anything. Yes. This is again only illustrative: password change, balance inquiry, fund transfer, new checkbook, stop payment, everything you can do. The customer then chooses one of the service from the list. So whatever you want to do, you do it. The service request is directed by the web server to the internet banking application server for processing. Now, this IBS, so I don't know whether you have short form, full form in examination, but please remember them so that references can be created in clear manner. Then internet banking channel server will retrieve data from central database. It will allow access to central database only through middleware. Middleware is this applications, firewall, and the operation will go ahead. Once the server forwards customer data to application server system, what is required, then that is provided on the browser. The web server generates a dynamic web page where you get the data. That is. Now I ask that question. Okay. So those who are saying no, please just take it. The question that I put was that virtual keyboard. So please ensure that whenever you go for net banking, always log into your net banking account by using the virtual keyboard only. Don't type your password from the keyboard, there are hacking softwares which capture the keystroke of the keyboard, because keyboard is fixed, QWERTY, QWERTY, ASDFGH. So everything is fixed on the keyboard. So they capture the way you are pressing the keyboard. So whenever you give password, very specifically password to log into a net banking account, always use the virtual keyboard. It is going to save one day for you. Okay. Okay. So that is internet, the way it completes. The customer would be able to get the service, like whatever he or she wants to do, and then log out. Then this will be easy, e-commerce transaction processing. So what we'll do, I've got the MCQ. So MCQ will take on 17th. Okay. So let us do this today. MCQ we will do on 17th. Now, let us see. So e-commerce we have talked about in detail. So nothing to do here. Internet banking, there was a whole discussion in chapter 4. So that saves a day here. Now case study on deployment. Okay, so let us do MCQ. So I'll agree to Dhyanesh. I'm bringing MCQ. We keep, because this is a very good topic to understand. So I want you to listen to this freshly. So I'm bringing the MCQ. No, Manoj, not necessary. On normal keyboard also you do. Okay. So MCQs, just wait. Now, so question 1, waiting for answers. I'm losing. Debit. So RTGS real-time gross settlement, NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer, IMPS immediate payment system, TTS telegraphic transfer. So I request you to always put your question number along with the answer so that there is no confusion. Yes. So more than one of you have answered correctly. IMPS, immediate payment system. Third, yes, most of you have answered question 2 correctly. Few names I see for the first time today. Good. Good. IMPS, good. Very good. I think we talked about it. Yes. Proxy, indirect network connection, which are not behave like that. Just remember it. The original, the way systems have been working. Okay. Just keep a tag of this. This was like a learning question. Okay. So let us go. We have done the MCQ. Let us go to our. Yeah. So case study on deployment. Just 1 more minute to you to ask any queries. So I'll brief, then we'll have detailed discussion as we meet next time. Now, see, yeah, one from, and then I'll let us go to the module. See, when you go for core banking system implementation, what is the core? The core is that you need to understand the requirements of as a banker, what exactly you want to do. So that is what is important of IT deployment. Okay. Now, the case given in the module is XYZ is a bank, is one of the largest public sector bank in India. Process is a leading information technology company offering quality software product and service both in domestic and international market. The bank has signed a strategic partnership with Process. Accordingly, XYZ Bank has licensed Process banking software, which includes BankSoft, the core banking system, eConnect, the financial middleware, eBanker, the internet banking solution. XYZ Bank intends to deploy this software across 1,500 branches over the next 3 years, suggest the appropriate technical steps to be taken by the management of the bank. So this is a case that has been created that the bank wants to install this across its banking network. Now, how you go about it? So let us read the solution. The IT solution to be deployed by bank and we said setting up of data center. So we understand that if you want to have a net banking, you require data center. What servers? So they say web server, database, and application. This will be 3 basic servers needed. Please understand. Okay. Based on the channel through which you operate, you can add more, but these are basic 3. Always remember them. And backup server. So fourth is the backup server. The data center will be replicated at another location with similar type of hardware software. Right now, I gave you the example in that question, in that point, that data center and disaster recovery center. So this becomes your DRC. So I told you that if my data center is 500 crores, my disaster recovery center is also 500 crores. So when I'm saying it is replicating, means replicated where? At a disaster recovery center. Now, next is important. This line is good. It must add to the learning process. Before I read let us read the line and then I'll tell you the source of it. The identified branches will be connected to data center and backup center through VSAT lease line. So each point needs to be understood. Identified branches. Please understand what has to be identified. 1500 branches have to be updated in 3 years. That means you will have a selection of which branches to go first. Let me share how actually bankers did their core banking implementation. So just taking State Bank of India as an example, you know how State Bank of India went for their core banking system application? They selected first the top 1000 branches. So those branches which had maximum advances, those were selected first year. Second year, the next 10,000 branches. Third year, the next 20,000 branches. And fourth year, the balanced branches. So that is a staggered implementation methodology. So you can select based on that. Then VSAT and lease line is how you create internet connectivity. Only for example, those lease line is a direct connection. VSAT is this you on the top of your home house, you see that dish terminal. So those are VSAT connection. Each branch to have a terminal with windows. Just remember, okay, no discussions on this. And interface for printing. So XYZ has 9,500 ATMs, 3,000 more they want to add. So all this will be linked through online. So this is how you can automate a banking system. Now, this case study is just for learning, creating an idea. Okay. I'll share more when we meet next day. We'll do it live. So I'll create a case for you and you'll do a live implementation. I'll allow you to write the steps. Okay. Process is an example. Bala Vinodni, it's an example of a company like. So it's a case study. Okay, just remember it. Whatever is written has to be remembered. No discussions on this. Yes, Manoj. So exactly that is the reason I told you that. It's a very good point. Manoj has made, sir. They must have a firewall also. Very good. So it's a learning. Add to this. Very good. They need firewall and antivirus software. Yes, yes. Good. Yes. Okay. So that is for today. Let us close it. Thank you. Have your till, laddu and kite flying and gulli danda and my best wishes to you. We'll meet day after tomorrow again. Continue with this. I'll create a case, allow you to answer. Thank you.